Well, since my last video when I thought I got that squeak fixed with replacing the tensioner and idler pulley, and it still isn't squeaking. However, it is leaking. And what is leaking is, I don't know if you can see it really, power steering pump down there. It's leaking right behind this pulley. There's a seal in it. And evidently that seal isn't sealing. And if I look up under the frame, you can see where it's been dripping down. And I pinpointed it to that seal behind the pulley. So what I have decided to do, initially I thought, okay, I'll just get a new power steering pump, put it on, done. But then there's a part of me that power steering pump is an original part of this truck. I don't know why I'm like that sometimes. And I thought, instead of buying a rebuilt one, why not just rebuild it myself? I believe really the only thing wrong with it is that seal isn't sealing anymore. Other than that, I think it's fine. It's never made a horrible moaning, groaning noise, but here recently it has made a little bit more than usual, and it went through some fluid. At first, I thought it was one of these fittings down, well, you can't see, it's dark and I don't have my flashlight, one of the fittings down on the box, and that fitting actually was loose, tightened it up. It didn't leak anymore, but that seal is no good. So instead of buying a new pump, I bought a rebuild kit. Basically, it's a whole bunch of seals, O-rings. See that front seal's in there. Has new bearing for the shaft, or they call it a bearing anyway. So I am going to remove my power steering pump out of the truck, take it all apart, replace a bunch of O-rings and seals, and hopefully that will take care of the issue. This kit was not very expensive. I don't remember what it cost. I think it was somewhere around $10, give or take. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. A little time consuming, but not too hard. It's a little breezy today here in central Iowa, not too bad. Nothing like the previous couple of days. It's been really windy and hot. It's been in the middle 90s the past couple of days with heat index over 100, I believe. And it's supposed to be pretty much in the 90s, middle to upper 90s for the next 2 weeks. I was kind of putting off doing this. I've had the parts for a little while, but it's been so darn hot the past few days. I was hoping it was going to cool down, but it doesn't look like it's going to anytime soon, so time to get to work. However, in here, with the air going, it feels pretty cool in here. Did get another package down at the P.O. box. Still don't have all the license plates hung up from the last run. Just haven't been down here a whole lot. It's been hot. So I'm going to get started on this, and the first thing I am going to do is I'm going to remove these tubes going to the air box. Take this out. May even take the fan shroud out just to make it easier to get to things. Well, to get better access, I was taking off the fan shroud, and in order to get that off, I had to take the fan off, which removing the fan on these trucks is really pretty simple. There's 4 bolts on the back side of this that have a 7/16 head on them, and just take those out. The fan will come out. You pretty much have to take the fan and the shroud out at the same time. And the shroud is just held on up on top. I have mine bolted on top, and then there are some clips on the bottom. These slide into a couple little slots and just kind of clip in place. So there's our power steering pump, the pulley, and the bracket, and I rented a tool to remove this pulley. That's why I need more access in here, just to make the job a little easier. So I'm going to get this tool out and we'll get this pulley off of here. Little tool that I have, I actually rented this. I was looking at buying one, but how often do you need a power steering puller? And also the one that I could buy, all it would do is pull it, where this one is the puller and also the installer. And it was free from the auto parts store, so I just have to return it and I'll get my money back. Well, I had to step away for a couple of hours and the temperature's gone up. It's about low 90s and very humid, so changed my attire a little bit, but now I'm going to pull this pulley off of here. The way this little tool works is that pulley has a lip on it, and so you put this over the pulley so the pulley catches on this lip here. So that will go on like that, along with this, which fits inside of it as well, which I have it backwards, which fits inside of it as well like that. Kind of hard to do standing here. This fits over the whole thing just to hold it together, and then you start tightening this down, which will pull your pulley off. I'll show you. So you put this little tool over this pulley like that, and then this will go in the center. My lighting isn't the greatest, I realize, and I apologize. Put that over it like that. And this sleeve here goes over the whole thing. Kind of holds everything together. And then you can tighten this. It tightens the whole thing up. And you should be able to get that off. I'm going to have to get a wrench on this and a wrench out here. So we put one wrench on here to hold it, which I don't know how well you're going to be able to see any of this. And I got a deep socket to put on this, and you start cranking it down. And there it is. Not sure how well you can see that. The back side of this is just covered with oil. So take this over to the bench. So there's the power steering pump. Looks a little leaky. And to take it off, it's got these 3 bolts around the outside of it, and I need to disconnect the lines back here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove those lines and get the pump out. There's just those 3 bolts holding it on. Get everything over the bench, then I'm going to clean everything off and we'll go from there. So I got it out, and there the old girl is. And you can see that seal hasn't been doing its job, and power steering fluid has gotten all over the thing. So I'm going to take that out and spray it off with some brake clean and get it all cleaned up. I've got my pump here fairly well cleaned up. I still got a little more to do on it, but for now it's okay. And the first thing you want to do is take the reservoir off, which is just a plastic reservoir. And if you're looking at it and can't figure out how to get this off, these just basically slide on. There's an O-ring inside there. And so take a screwdriver, put it down in there like that, just twist it a little bit. And then work your way around, and there it comes. Just like that. Probably going to lose some fluid out of there. Next thing I'm going to take out is this piece here, which may have to tap like that. It should fall out along with a spring. I've honestly never done one of these before. This is my first time rebuilding a power steering pump, but doesn't seem like it's too difficult. There's a hole here, and you need something to go down through that hole. I'm not sure if this will fit. And there's a snap ring in there. I'll show you here in a minute. You need to stick this in there and pop it down. So not sure how well you're going to be able to see that. I got that screwdriver down in there. The end of that snap ring is right there. So probably going to have to get some picks or something and work that out of there. Or maybe a little screwdriver will work. Just keep working your way around. It's a little tough, but it will come out. Like so. And then after you get that retaining ring out, these other parts should come apart, I believe. That. There's a couple little posts down inside this that this fits onto, and I think all these other pieces do as well. I think most of these other pieces will come out. So the side with all the cutouts and so forth goes pulley side, and the side that's flat goes to the back. So here's what it looks like after you get those removed. You have these two posts here, and they'll move up and down. There's a snap ring there. I'm not sure if this piece will just pop out of there or not. Let's find out. Get that snap ring out. I just took a screwdriver, and you can just push it down. The rest of this will come out now. There's the shaft. There's that. Keep this together. Now the shaft should come out. I don't know if it needs to go. I guess we'll go that way. Like that. And the bottom of this, you got this piece here in the bottom, and I'm not sure what holds that in. However, I don't think I'm going to take it out. That bushing sits in there, and it has an oil passage in it, which the hole on this side, I don't know if you can see in there, right there, there's a notch in the end of that bushing, bearing or whatever you want to call it, and it needs to line up with the hole in the casing. Not sure if you can see that or not there. I'm going to pull this off so we can get to that bushing and replace that. Then we're going to start replacing all the O-rings, clean everything up, put it back together. I decided I'm not going to replace the bushing. Been playing around with it a little bit here, and this one, the new one, there's actually, I know you can't see it on camera, but there's just a tiny bit of, a little bit of play in it. And when I put it in here, there's nothing. It is solid as could be. So I'm going to leave that bushing alone, but I am replacing that seal since I think that's what's bad anyway. We got the old cap off here, and it's pretty wet on this side. I got the old seal out. Looks a little gnawed up on one end. So now I'm going to put the new seal back in. I'm just going to place it in there, and I have a socket that fits over it just right. And with the seal in there, now we can put the cap on. Now to start replacing some O-rings. First on, I'm just going to do this big one here that seals off the reservoir. That off. It's a little flat over the years, but not too bad. And we will replace it with the new one. I'm going to clean this groove out first. Put a little fluid on this O-ring just to help in ease of assembly with things, and put it back on here. There we go, we got that on. Now see, I got a whole bag of O-rings here. I'm not sure where they all go. So this bottom piece that was in the housing, I managed to get it out. I took a pick, or wherever it went. Well, it was a pick. It wasn't like this. It's this one here. It's a 90-degree pick, and you could go down and you could just get under the bottom of that, and came out kind of hard. And when I pulled it, it kind of went flying. But I think it's okay. But on the back side of it, there's a concave washer down in the bottom of that, and on the back side of this, there's an O-ring. There's an O-ring out here, and there's an O-ring in there. So I need to replace both of those. So I slid those two O-rings off of there, and now just going to put these two back on, just like that. I don't think there's any reason to take that washer out of there. So I got that bottom piece slid back in. I don't think it makes any difference which way it goes as long as you have the upside up and the downside down. Just remember how you take pieces apart. Well, it is the next day, and I got that put back in the truck last night, and it doesn't work. I think I know what the problem is. I think I put the internal component, I think I have it installed 180 degrees off, so I got to take it back out of the truck and take it apart and see if I have that in there backwards. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to record that part. If that is what it is, I will let you know, well, momentarily to you. If not, I'm just going to go get a new pump. Got a new pump. I was putting this back together, and I do think, well, this piece, this goes inside this, and in each one of these holes fits one of these little springs, and then one of these slippers fits on top of the spring and rides around in this. However, when I was putting it back together, I do think I had this turned 180 degrees, but when I was putting it back together, I was setting it down on top of the gear, not paying attention. This popped up out of here. All of these went flying, of course, and I can't find one of these springs. Found the other 9, but I'm missing one spring, and at that point, I said, I went and got a new pump, right here, and I'm gonna put this on the truck, and hopefully everything works. Well, I got that installed, and I already have it running. Everything seems to be just fine, and no more squeaky. Well, it is 90 degrees in the shop, and about the same humidity, it feels like. Still need to get all of these plates up on the wall, and the letters, and another cork board. I do have one package waiting to be opened, and I'm gonna do that right now. So without further ado, let's get to it. This comes from Doug Powers from Nebraska. I couldn't even find it. Oh, there's a knife. Let's see what Doug had this in. I hope I just didn't pass something. Doesn't appear to be a license plate. Interesting. Hey Fox Shop, I thought you should have this 1917 plate. It's 100 years old, and I was told by the collector that 1917 was the second year for Nebraska to go to metal plates. I left the patina on it just to show the age. The other object is a fake owl. I've noticed a large beam in the part of your garage where the barn swallows crap all over. Well, take the orange plug out of the bottom of the owl and screw it to that beam, and the swallows will not come in there. The image of the owl scares them away. The owl also works on garden pests, but if you put it outside, you won't have any birds around your place. Oh yeah, once you screw the orange plug to the beam, put the owl back on it. Good luck! I'm restoring a 92 flare sight, and your video helps a lot. Thanks, Doug Powers. Thank you very much, Doug. Let's take a look at this owl we have here. I didn't even see the license plate in the bottom of the box. It just kind of filled in the same color. Nebraska, 1917. I think there's Iowa. I believe one of those Iowa plates I have out there, I don't think it even has a year on it. I was thinking it was 1917. I'm going to have to check that again, but this is pretty awesome, and by far the oldest plate that I've received so far. Thank you very much. And here's Mr. Owl. Looks like the mounting supplies are under here. I will give this a try. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. I'll give the owl a try, and I'll get the plate up on the wall. Might hang it in here. And if you have a license plate for the license plate wall, or anything else for that matter that you would like to send to the Fox Shop, like owls, the address is in the description below. Well, I did get the power steering working again. It doesn't appear to be leaking. That squeaky squeak seems to be gone. I am a little disappointed in this video as I set out to rebuild the pump that was on the truck, and if it wasn't for losing one of these little guys, I think it would have worked. I'm sure you can get those springs somewhere, but I just didn't want to mess around any longer. I wanted to get my truck running, so I just put a new pump on it. So not real sure how this video turned out. It was filmed over a couple of days, but give it a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.